the window. No. All right, got it. All right, so here we are. We've made it. Y'all just seen what happened. We've just put this gargantuan, I mean, huge heck of a grapple in here. So if y'all remember last year, I came over and talked with Casey. By the way, this is Casey from Henderson's How To and Review. He's got a channel. We looked at some of the like enormous, beautiful beachfront, well, close to beachfront homes that y'all build out here on 30A over kind of near the Panama City area. And we told y'all in that video, we had something special that I could not get to that trip because it was unforeseen, out of his control. And this is what it was. So Casey was contacting me a while back. He says, I got one. It's not exactly what you need for a tractor, but it can be modified and can go on your tractor. So long story short, I've just bought all the hydraulics for the tractor. We're going to have a cool video coming up for that. I've just made the trip over here into the Panama City Beach area and picked this up. And just want to say thank you to Casey again, who hooked me up last time with that diesel tank y'all seen. We toured all his houses and here we are again. But it's kind of a story. The reason we couldn't get it last time, the reason we kind of had to keep you on suspense was because, well, we'll just say a friend borrowed it. And you couldn't find it for a while, could you?
Couldn't find it for months. He wouldn't tell me where it was.
Hey.
And we found it in 2 pieces.
Yeah. Yes, it is in 2 pieces as well.
Which the frame is so strong, you really can't hurt it. We got it, some lines need to be replaced, but the body's still here and it'll be good.
This is also set up for a skid steer, as you've seen. I have a John Deere quick connect, so I actually have some brackets that we're going to weld on and make that work. Hey, there's a little bit of the story. We won't get in all the details of it. We come to pick it up a while back. It wasn't available, unbeknownst to Casey.
Yeah, I know. You were on the way too, and it was driving me crazy because I couldn't get to it.
Yeah.
And then I felt bad because you got here and it wasn't here.
Well, it wasn't your fault. So somebody borrowed it. It vanished for a little while. Casey found it in multiple pieces. We're going to perform surgery.
Yeah.
And we're going to put it back together.
Exactly.
All right.
It's stout. So it'll do everything you need it to do and then some, and you won't have to worry about trees down anymore or branches, or you want to make a new road or whatever you want to do, you can do with this. I certainly do appreciate it. No matter if it's a little bit of a project or what. Look, I'm not having to build something and start from scratch here or go spend thousands of dollars on these new grapples. So this is going to be awesome. It's going to be a fun project. I think people see it might be a little daunting looking, but he can get the 2 pieces back together pretty quick and easy. It's just going to be the lines. Big deal. Yeah.
Nope. And I got an awesome hydraulic shop near me. They'll rebuild the lines. We'll include all that, and we'll get us a functioning grapple here before long.
And then you can use the money for something else.
Yeah, amen to that. There's well, like I said,
buy something else for the channel.
Bought the hydraulics and everything else.
Well, I'm sure that was expensive.
Which the viewers actually paid for that. Y'all been so awesome. We're going to discuss that in an upcoming episode. Yeah, we have amazing viewers. So I appreciate you always thinking of me, hooking me up with that diesel tank. I use it all the time. Now a daggum tractor grapple here. So this is awesome, man. It's because of viewers like Casey that's always thinking about us and reaching out to us. It's amazing. So appreciate all of y'all, and YouTube and Facebook land, they're always so kind and giving to us. Absolutely means the world to us. All right, so go check out Casey's channel. I'm gonna give him a little pitch again and put it down in the description. Y'all go hold him accountable. He's got all these awesome built homes out here that he needs to show videos on.
I ordered a new camera. So it's coming, and I'll be able to start making videos like I need to.
So he's got new camera equipment coming. He's already got established YouTube channel. We just need the videos.
Yeah. And I don't have many. I got what, 20 maybe.
And he's got some awesome houses that he builds over here. Y'all should go check them out. All right, well, I'm gonna cut the camera off. We're gonna look at a few things around this place, and then I've got a 2.5 hour trip back to unload this, and I'll show that off to y'all. Thanks again, Casey. Truly appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I promise we're about to dive into some fun stuff, plasma cutting, welding, all that, but I need to explain why I'm cutting up a grapple that was just given to me. And before we even get into that, I've already contacted Casey, who gave me this, said, I want your thoughts and opinions on me cutting a lot of metal out of this, dropping some weight, because I don't need a heavy duty skid steer grapple, and I really need to drop the weight. He says, it's yours, do whatever the heck you want. So I did check with him because I didn't want him to see the video and be like, can't believe this guy just cut up this grapple that I just gave him. So here's the thing, this is extremely heavy duty, overbuilt for a compact tractor. This is made for a much heavier skid steer that is designed to do a lot heavier duty work than a compact tractor. So as a result, everything is just overbuilt. 1/2 inch thick steel there, 1/4 inch plate everywhere, 3/8 inch plate back here. It's more than I need. And the heavier this is, the less logs and debris I can lift, and it's already got a ton of weight to it. The other reason I don't desire all the plate is because this would be like excellent for picking up trash, debris, demolition work. Well, it also picks up a lot of dirt. That's not what I need when I'm scooping up branches and brush out in the woods. I want the dirt to be able to go through like most tractor grapples. That piece alone just saved me a ton of weight. Okay, after 2+ hours of running the plasma cutter yesterday, I cut all the plate out, cut the back skid steer plate off, and from the way it feels, easily cut 200 pounds off of this piece of equipment. That's 200 more pounds of lifting capacity I get. That's the difference between getting a log off a trailer and maybe not. So what I'm doing right now, I ordered these John Deere quick attach mounts. This is where the skid plate was. This is what I need to connect to John Deere 3, 4, or 5 series tractors. So I'm roughly tack welding this in. Gonna get out here and make sure everything fits up good. I've taken a ton of measurements, but before I weld it in anymore, I need to go ahead and double check that it'll fit in case I need to cut these big thick tack welds out and reposition some stuff. I wanted to mention I'm using the stick welder right here. People probably wonder I'm not running my MIG because there's so much old grease, grime, paint, everything on this, plus there's still paint on these pieces right here. I've ground a lot of it down as best I can, but nothing penetrates through all that stuff and gets as solid of a weld, in my opinion, as some good old 1/8 inch stick welding rods. So I'm gonna stick weld this out, and I may MIG weld the last of it, but I wanna get that good penetration of a stick weld. So let's make sure this attaches up to the front good. We'll continue welding, and I have a ton of grinding to do and some more reinforcements. Okay, well that was highly disappointing. These brackets that I just ordered from the factory, the pins are spaced too tight to the top side of the back bracket. I mean, that's 100% the factory's fault there. So I had to grind a ton off the top of these pins to get them to fit in the hole. There's a whole bunch of slop in the bottom. These pins need to be down about 1/4 of an inch, it looks like. So I'll make sure I'll put in the description these brackets and put a big disclaimer, do not buy these. Go with a different brand. All right, there's the beast on the front of the tractor. Now I can finish doing a lot of weld out, flip it over, weld out the other side. And then we got to move up here and grind and clean up. And I want to put some bars in between all these tines so they can't bend on me. But I want something small enough that dirt can pass through. So I've got to weld these braces in so the tines get some support. There's just too much out there. Even being thick steel, I can bend them either way. And I had put this really thick wall square tubing in this way, and I just had a thought. It makes more sense to put it in with the triangle, the pointed in this way, so as I'm pushing and digging and dirt comes in, it'll want to go up and over the triangle instead of pushing against a flat wall like this. This is just going to push dirt. I think this is the better way to do it. So as crazy as this may look, I'm actually going to take my big propane torch and heat the metal up before I paint it. And the reason I'm doing that is we actually had a surprise light frost this morning, so the metal was very cold, not good for paint, and there is still water in all the little pockets and areas that it can collect in. So if you run the torch over it, it almost instantly dries, gets the metal nice and heated up, which is good for the paint. And I'll just actually have to let this sit here for just a little bit. You're not going to overheat 1/2 inch steel, trust me, it'll cool right back off. There's also a couple spots I see with some oil and grease. You can actually stay on it with this right here, and it'll pull it out of the metal and actually evaporate it. You can watch it happen. I'm not looking for a perfect paint job here, but I got to get this water out. So while all that paint is drying, one thing that we need to do before we put all of this back together is check out all of these grease fittings on the pins and other places, because a lot of them are completely smashed, broken off, and damaged, and we cannot grease our piece of equipment. So Harbor Freight is not known for a lot of quality stuff, but one thing I do love about Harbor Freight is they have a full wall of little assortment packs just like this. And I picked up some grease fittings a while back, figured, hey, eventually I'm gonna break some and need them. And these little assortment kits come in handy all the time around the shop. They have one with springs and cotter pins and you name it. But the grease fitting ones is gonna bail me out today. I have no idea what thread this is. I'm going to assume it's metric like everything else nowadays. Let's start with that kit. Sure enough, metric threads right in. Well, it looks like all the grease fittings in the cylinders are broke completely off. Actually, I've only found 2 grease fittings on this unit. So I'm gonna try one of these easy out reverse thread broken bolt distractors. Maybe I'll bite down in there and pull that out. Aha! Check that out. Always pays to have the right tools. All right, last fitting, and of course this one's gonna fight me. It's missing and the threads are damaged. I cannot get one of these to thread in. So we're gonna have to tap that hole out. Every shop should have a cheap tap and die set. I don't have much in this at all, and it has saved me time and time again. So the first thing we need to do is find out the thread pitch here. It's labeled in there that it's an M10, but I've got 2 different M10s, 1.0, looks like a coarse thread and a fine thread. So it's pretty easy. You can match your threads right up. I can see this is the one we're gonna need to use. So you can see this tap actually comes to a fine point at the end, and then you have cutting threads. It starts working its way in and slowly opening the hole up to the proper thread and size for this. Good way to clean out threads and save yourself a lot of headache. Just work nice and slow. Sometimes you got to go in a backwards motion to get some of the cuttings out. We're a pretty good ways in there. That may be good enough. Let's check. Like a glove. Check that out. We're back in business. So this thing is a monster. No doubt it is way bigger than it needs to be for my compact tractor. But with that said, I notice it's there, but I've still got a decent amount of lift capacity. How much lift? I don't know until we get some brush and trees down and we start using it. Now, sadly, I can't use it just yet because I've got to go get all the hydraulic lines rebuilt and cylinders put in place. Right now, I just have it chained open. It will actually open up even more than this, it looks like, once the cylinders are installed. The other thing is my tractor is not set up with third function hydraulics. So we're gonna have a video coming up here before long where I'm gonna install those. So at the end of the day, I'm absolutely blessed and thankful. By the time we get done rebuilding the hydraulics and putting the kit and all on, we're really not gonna have a whole lot in it compared to going out and buying a several $1,000 grapple or going to the John Deere dealership and paying an additional several $1,000s to get hydraulics installed. We're doing it all ourselves, and things like this has been donated to us, which is such an amazing blessing. Casey, thank you again so much for this, and thank y'all for all the contributions that y'all have done because y'all covered all the hydraulics that we're gonna install. All right, so let's take a look. It still needs another good solid coat of paint. I'm letting this first coat dry, but we're not gonna get it too pretty because we're just gonna go shove it in a bunch of brush and scratch it all up. I spent more time than I wanted to grinding all the cutouts from the plasma cutter where the plates were. You can still see where the plates were at. We're not going to worry about it anymore because you know this thing is going to get beat all up out there in the woods. But we dropped an easy 200 pounds off of this thing with all the cutting and grinding that we did. This top is unbelievably massive. There's no way I'll ever bend this thing up. And the fact that it's going to open up even more than that lets me know I can get a hold of a lot of brush. I also left the plates in right here to protect the cylinders. That way no brush could go through and damage them. And I know a lot of people are going to say you should have left the plates there so limbs can't get to your radiator. It's actually several feet back to the tractor radiator, and it is not at all uncommon for compact tractor grapples to not have anything there. You've got to reduce weight where you can. All right, well, what a fun project, the trip out there. Thanks again, Casey and Mr. Thomas, for y'all's generosity, and thank you all for watching and making the channel a success, and all the live stream donations y'all have done. And for the people watching, we don't ever ask our viewers for any donations. All we care about is if you just watch the channel. That means the world to us. People have went above and beyond on lots of different things around the property. They watch us, we wind up becoming friends and family. They'll mention, hey, we've seen you didn't have a tractor grapple in the background. Yeah, well, eventually that's going to be on our project list. Next thing you know, they start a fund and just start donating to it. They've been doing that for literally 2 years. We've kept track of every cent, and now that it covers everything, especially with a donation like this, we're moving forward. That's what we always promised our viewers we'd do. So absolutely amazing people.